In a game where Jimbo Fishers' job could potentially be on the line. This week we're going to take a look at Texas A&M versus Miami in A&M, and I'm back with my coach Trey. And he's going to give his initial thoughts on the game this week.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Back again. This is going to be a good game, I believe. Um, there's a bunch of questions here, especially for A&M, well, even Miami, because they started off pretty slow last week against Southern Miss in Miami. So this has a potential to be a really good game, but it also has a potential to be really ugly. Does A&M make a quarterback change? Do they go to Max Johnson? There's a lot of questions here. Can A&M's offense stay on the field is one of the biggest questions. But
How,
I think this is going to be a really good game.
how much pressure do you think is on Jimbo Fisher to be able to win this game?
A lot of pressure. Um, I was thinking last week whenever they played App State that there was already going to be some pressure, especially if he didn't perform or if the team didn't perform. And not only did they not perform, but they lost to App State in College Station. So he's already under some pressure. But if he can't, if they come out looking like they did Saturday against App State and they do that again this weekend, I think he's going to be under a hot seat.
I think Texas A&M is still about a year away from true championship contention. I think they're on the outside looking in this year. I don't think Haynes King is a very good quarterback. They really need to make that switch to Max Johnson. I'm not saying Max Johnson is going to be like Joe Burrow. I know he came up from LSU, but they got to get somebody else in there to try to shake up the offense because I don't think Jimbo Fisher can afford too many more, losses to teams that he should be beating. And I think Miami's a team that's kind of pressure free. They're supposed to be good this year. A lot of returning talent. Van Dyke was really good last year, but they got to overcome that shaky start that they had last week.
Yeah, we can't forget that Miami has a first time head coach too. So yeah, they expect to be pretty good, but they can take some of the lumps. They can take some losses that maybe they shouldn't because he's been there for his first year. Jimbo's been there for a while and he's been getting top recruiting classes. He's got to do something with it.
Do you think Mario Cristobal is ready for a challenge like this as Miami's head coach? Because he recruited very well at Oregon, and he had Herbert, who's going on to do good things in the NFL, and he still couldn't, fully deliver for that team. Do you think he's maybe a good recruiter, but not a great X's and O's coach?
A lot of people have said that. Me, I'm neither here nor there. I think he's going to do pretty good with Miami. I just it's tough in Oregon. They want that to be a national powerhouse up there with all the money they pump in their athletic program, but I just don't. I don't think that can be one of the elite programs. But I think Miami can get back to there.
And the game last week, Miami was struggling to move the ball the first half, and Van Dyke threw really two interceptions. One of them, luckily didn't end up counting. But do you think he can have that performance against this Texas A&M defense? Because one of the things Texas A&M has been good at this year is on that side of the ball.
Yeah, whenever they've been not on the field for 40 plus minutes in a game, they've been pretty good. I think they can get some pressure on Van Dyke as that offensive line for Miami allowed a few sacks against Southern Miss, and I promise that this defensive front for A&M is a lot better than that Southern Miss defense. So I think they can get after him. I think they can cause them to get into some sticky situations. Maybe they'll throw a pick or two. I'm not going to say he does or not, but I think they can get after him. I think they can cause them to get rattled a little bit.
And do you think Texas A&M's defense or offense can find a way to be able to move the ball on Miami's defense? No, Southern Miss didn't have much issue moving the ball, particularly in the pass game. Their quarterback made a lot of really good throws in the tight coverage. Do you think maybe Haynes King can do a turnaround, or do you think they could put Max Johnson and they could find some success through the air?
I don't know if it's going to be Haynes King. I don't know if it's going to be Max Johnson, and I don't really care either way. But that Miami defense did make that quarterback from Southern Miss look way better than he probably should have. He was making throws that are NFL throws. They had guys catching balls over their defenders. They just looked, lost, especially early in the first half. They did shut them out in the second half. So good for the coaches. They got on the defense. They turned it around. They shut them down. So I think Haynes King and or Max Johnson, whoever it is, they're going to have some success. I don't think they're going to go for 400 or 500 yards, but they will have some success, I believe.
Are you a little surprised that the matchup predictor has Miami by 53.6%, and you come down to the spread, and A&M's you a 5.5 point favorite? Are you surprised by that?
Um, I I am a little surprised. I figured that given that the odds makers have A&M favored by, what was it, 5.5, I figured that the FPI also would have reflected that. But, you know, it's still relatively close whether you look at the spread or whether you take a look at the FPI. It's not too much of a difference.
And the over under seemed like it's calling for both teams to not do very much on the offense. Not surprised by Texas A&M because they've struggled on that side of the ball. Uh, do you think Miami could put up more points and maybe get the over?
I would not personally touch the over under on this game because I could realistically see this being a 21-17 game, or it could be, 17-10, or it could be, a shootout because both defenses, don't show up. This is one of the games that I'm not certain picking the over under on.
And I've noticed too that their last, Texas A&M last 5 games, they lost to Ole Miss 29-19. Then they play a non-power 5 team, they win the game. Go back to LSU, lose that game, then play another non-power 5 team, win the game, and then
And in that Sam Houston State game, they were struggling early on too. They did win up winning 31-0, but they were struggling early on.
so that kind of concerns me that a lot of their wins lately have been against competition that is not supposed to be very good. Whereas Miami's has a lot of returning talent, and this is supposed to be the year that they could potentially win the ACC, depending on how Clemson and NC State and teams like that fare out of there. But for pick time for the game, who do you think wins the game, and what do you think they have to do to be able to seal the victory?
Again, I don't feel comfortable picking this game. If I had to pick, I would say A&M wins by a field goal. I think they get the ball moving a little bit more. I think what happened against App State, it wasn't a fluke. I'm not saying that. Give all credit to App State. They came into College Station and they handled business. It was not a fluke. It was just they didn't catch A&M on their best day. And I just don't think that A&M is going to be that down again. So I think A&M wins it by a field goal. Close game, low scoring game. I think it's going to be something like 24-21 or 21-18 or 2017, something like that.
I'm going to make a bold prediction for the game. I think Texas A&M wins the game, and I think they start out with Haynes King at quarterback, and they struggle the first half. And you see Max Johnson come in the second half and really start to shake up the team, kind of add a spark of energy to the offense, and they get something going. That's going to be my bold prediction for the game. But I do think A&M at home, the pressure on Jimbo Fisher, I think the players are going to try to rally for him as much as they can. And I think you see them have a lot better game than the one they showed last week against Appalachian State. And there you have it. There's our predictions for the Miami Texas A&M game. Should be a really good game. And thanks for watching, guys. More to come.